The most common things couples say when they come into my office is this: we need help with our communication. And honestly, they're not wrong. Communication touches everything: money, parenting, sex, conflict, daily life, you name it. So when couples name communication as the problem, they're already pointing in the right direction. But here's what I've learned after sitting with many, many couples. Most couples don't struggle because they don't know how to communicate. They struggle because over time, it stops feeling safe to talk. And when it doesn't feel safe, even the right words can land all wrong. In emotionally focused therapy, we pay close attention to how couples communicate, not just how often or the content so much. What we're looking for is where are we communicating at? And I think it's helpful to take a look at that there's different levels of communication, and most couples move between them without even realizing it. One level I see often is content only communication. This is logistics, coordination, information. Questions like, what time is your meeting? Or did you grab the groceries? Who's picking up the kids? This kind of communication is necessary. It keeps life running, but there's no emotional presence here. You could say these same things to a coworker or a roommate. And when couples stay mostly at this level, they often tell me we function well, but we don't feel very close. Going down a second level, it goes a little bit deeper. Here, they do mention emotions, but they're usually about something that's happened in the past or in the future or in the hypothetical. So it can sound like this: I was really hurt when you didn't check in last week. Or I got anxious when I thought about where this is headed. This matters. This is vulnerable. But emotionally, the feeling isn't happening right now between the two of you. Many couples do live here and they get frustrated. They think, what's going on here? We're talking about feelings. Why doesn't this help us? Because something important is still missing. Here's one extra element for you. Going down a third level is when emotions come online in the room in real time. Let me show you what this can look like in real life. I'm sitting with a couple. Let's call them Mark and Emily. They've been talking for a while about the same issue they always talk about. Mark is working late. Emily is feeling alone in all of her evenings. And at first, it sounds familiar. Emily says, you said you'd be home by 6, and it was almost 8 again. Mark says, I told you I got stuck at work. I can't just leave right in the middle of a project. Now, that's not level 3 yet. That's content, that's positions. And if you can tell, they're feeling pretty defensive with one another. So I slow things down. I speak to Emily and I say her name. I say, Emily, before we keep going, can we pause for a second? What's happening inside of you right now as you're saying this? Emily looks down and she hesitates. This is usually the moment where people either protect or they risk. And in this moment, Emily risks. She says, as I'm saying this right now, I feel really sad. I allow for a pause. I don't interrupt. And she says, honestly, I feel kind of stupid for even bringing it up again. Now something shifts. Mark changes. I didn't know you felt stupid, he says. I just thought you were mad at me. I slow it down again. I turn to Emily. Emily, can you stay with that sadness just for a moment and say it to Mark? She takes a breath. When you're late, she says, part of me tells myself I don't matter as much as your job. And saying that out loud right now, I'm afraid you'll think I'm being too much, maybe too dramatic. Now, this is going down to that third level. It's not polished, it's not strategic, but it is very real. Mark responds differently. I don't think you're dramatic, he says. I feel awful hearing that. I didn't realize that's what it felt like for you. Then Mark surprises himself right there in that moment. When you bring this up, part of me wants to shut down because honestly, I'm scared that I'm going to let you down again. And what if when you get upset, you'll want to give up on me? Now, his primary emotion is in the room: fear, shame, longing for Emily. I reflect it. I say what I'm seeing in the room. So instead of fighting about time and schedules, I'm hearing two people who are afraid of losing each other right here in this moment. And they both kind of nod. And Emily reaches for Mark's hand. Something is happening in this moment. It's not because I told her to do that, but because the room feels different. She feels safer. This level of communication also feels very risky because you're letting your partner see you, because you're not all armored up now. Without emotional safety, moments like this feel exposing. You could retreat, you could deflect, or you could protect. But with enough safety, even briefly, these same moments can feel so very connecting. That's when couples say, hmm, that felt different. This is why advice like just talk more or use better words or stay calm, all these things, they mean well, but they often fall flat because it skips the most important question. Does it feel safe to be honest with you right here in this moment? So when couples tell me we need help with our communication, I hear that. I hear that. I also hear something deeper. I hear we want to feel close again. We don't want to keep hurting each other. We don't want to lose this. If you're watching this and maybe you're thinking, we try to talk, but it always turns into this big hot mess, I want you to hear this clearly. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And it doesn't mean your relationship is failing or that your spouse is failing you. It usually means you're touching something that's important, that really matters. And with the right kind of support, support that focuses on safety, connection, and what's happening underneath the words, not just the words themselves, not just the content, but underneath the words. Communication doesn't just improve, it becomes a way back to each other. Until next time, I'm rooting for you.